Well, hey folks, just a quick update from Black Gumbo, let you know why we're not producing so many videos at this moment, and a look toward the future. A little bit of a gust tonight. 40 to 60 mile an hour winds. Tropical cyclone. Tropical storm Nicholas. Okay, well, we've just had a tropical storm blow through just last night, and wasn't too bad. Tropical storm Nicholas turned into a hurricane very briefly and passed over us. We took a pretty much what you'd call a direct hit. Had it been any greater of a storm, we would have been right in the eye wall as it passed just to the west of us. So yeah, it was it was a blustery night. Wasn't a rain event so much. We did have lots of rain, and it's currently raining now. But for the most part, it was, if you're going to have a tropical type of storm in this year, then that's the one we would take. Well, we're glad to have it. We were very glad and thankful that it didn't turn out worse for us. Our power was out for about 8 hours or so, and just as I put gasoline in the generator to crank up the generator and get some power to our refrigerator and freezer, that's when the power came back on. So power companies are doing a knockout job working out there getting power restored. You could hear transformers blowing at night. So yeah, it was a windy night. Knocked over some potted trees out in the backyard, and that's about it. Knocked the okra down, but other than that, I can't complain. We had we were treated very mercifully. Well, the okra didn't stand up well to the tropical storm. It all got blown down. We'll just see if it'll stand up on its own. Not much you can do there. Tropical storm knocked over a few trees that were in pots over there. We've stood them back up. But yeah, you can see how weedy this garden is, and all the morning glories at this time climb everything and choke everything out. Yeah, lots of weeds in the garden. This is the way the summer garden looks. Well, it's going to come to an end pretty soon here. Once we get those sweet potatoes harvested, and once October 1st, or that week comes around, we'll be working to clear everything out of here so we can go in and get all these weeds flamed down, and yeah, we'll be in our fall gardening mode then. What's going on at Black Gumbo? I've started my seeds. I showed you how to start seeds in a previous video. I've started seeds under the lights for my fall garden. The fall garden's going to be heavy on root crops and brassicas. I'm going to grow a lot of carrots, and so you can go see the video on all the things we're going to grow. But I also picked up some garlic bulbs. They're not here yet, but they'll be shipping soon. We're going to grow some garlic. I did buy a while back a raised bed from Birdies, which is an Australian company, and you can pick these up through the gardening YouTube channel Epic Gardening. They are distributors of those Birdies systems. I also found out that there's another system here in Houston that makes the same kind of modular metal raised beds, and they reached out to me and they're going to send me one to review and compare. Here's the problem. I'm not sure I have room for either of these in my backyard. I'm not sure. I assembled one. I was going to do a whole video on it, on how to assemble these. So it's just sitting back there right now, and I'm not sure where I want to put it. I may take them to my son's house and start 2 raised beds over there, and then we'll compare those 2 products, and we'll review I'll tell you the name of the company here in Houston when I do a video on that. But I am going to do a video on that. I'm going to show you how to assemble these things and fill them, and yeah, so that's what's going on here. The summer garden is winding down. It's full of weeds. It's choked out with morning glories. It's going to be a rough go when we clear these beds out. It's going to take a lot of work, but I have some ideas for the winter garden. I believe that at least in my 3 main beds, I'm going to use a weed cloth, a weed barrier cloth for the first time, and punch holes in there and transplant my seedlings that way, just so throughout the winter I can suppress the weeds that I know the seeds are in there. The seed bank is full in my garden. And I'll show you what I'm going to do, and I'll show you how to do that. I've got the roll of cloth. I've bought it. It's ready to go. But I think I'm going to try that this winter, just to see if I can suppress some of that weed growth. That will mean that when the spring comes along, I won't have to remove as much, and the weeds that do start to germinate under that cloth, I can just flame weed those down, and that's just more weeds that didn't get to maturity. We don't have a lot of weeds in the winter here. They don't grow as densely. That's why I like winter gardening, but there are some. And the weeds that do grow in the winter aren't the type of weeds that really choke the garden out. In the summertime, the weeds we get are, they really zap a lot of life out of the garden, and they really choke the plants out. So I've got 3 main culprits right now, actually 4. I've got some grasses that are growing up in my cowpeas. I've got an unusual plant that grows pretty tall and shades things out, and I don't know what the plant is. But it puts off a lot of seeds when it flowers and reseeds itself. This is that weed. I don't know what it is. I don't really know the name of it, but you can see it's got those little flower pods there, and it just drops weeds everywhere. You can see they get really tall. I don't know that you can see, but they do get really tall. But yeah, the weeds are everywhere. I've got nut grass or nut sedge, and that's always a problem in my garden. It just seems to thrive in there. The nut sedge doesn't really zap a lot of life out of the soil. In my experience, it just is unsightly. Got lots of nut sedge in this bed. This nut sedge will be running down there in networks. It's a good time to pull weeds when the rain comes, but yeah. Here's that plant again that I don't know what it is. Yeah, these got to come out too. And then of course the morning glories. And then what's the other one I've got? Morning glories. I hate morning glories. They're beautiful. They climb everything you leave in the garden, any pole, any plant, and they really do a number choking out like my pepper plant. So I try to keep those knocked back, but I just can't stay on top of it. But right now is the weedy season. So Ahicharapita, putting on heavy. I have been harvesting off of these Tabasco peppers, and I've got a good 2 quarts of peppers, I think. Not 2 quarts. Yeah, 2 quart bags full. And we're going to make Tabasco sauce when I have enough. Try to leave these in long enough for a good harvest. You can see they're still producing. And there's that morning glory climbing up in there. I had a commenter say that I shouldn't be teaching people about fig trees because my fig trees look so bad, like that one there. I think that commenter did not understand the context of my garden. These trees were all killed by the freeze, or seemingly killed by the freeze, and most of that tree was knocked back by the freeze. But you can see that it's putting on new buds. It took a while, but yeah, it looks pathetic now, but look, it's got green buds on the tips of all those branches. So it took a while to recover. It does look bad, but you know, hey, weather sometimes knocks your trees back. All of these fig trees looked horrible. Even that guy right there, I thought it was a goner, but new leaves. So yeah, they look pretty pathetic, but they're fed well, they're kept well, and they're survivors. Here's an example of a terrible looking fig tree. This is mostly dead, you can see. But from the root system and the base down here, after that freeze, it started putting out some new growth. And so we're going to come and cut this off, and we're going to retrain this tree, maybe take some cuttings and shape up some new trees. Yeah, what is this? This is a white cadota. I want one of those. Yeah, well, that's what's going on here. We're going to start ramping up our videos for the fall gardening in earnest come the beginning of October. And at the beginning of October, that's when we're going to be clearing our summer garden, getting rid of all the stuff that's in there, and preparing the beds and planting our seeds and transplanting our brassicas. I've got broccoli, a couple of cabbages, and a bunch of lettuce that's already growing up under the lights. So that's when that'll go in, first week of October. That's when we're really going to earnestly get back out in the garden. Hopefully the weather will be a little bit more tolerable. It's actually nice today. I'm looking out there at the rain as the remnants of Nicholas pass by, and it's cool today. It's only 78 degrees, so but the rest of the week is going to be flaming hot, just like it was last week. September is usually our hottest month, and we're just longing for that first fall cold front. But who knows, maybe October will be cooler and we'll be out there gardening. So hey, thanks for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Just a little update, and I really appreciate all your views and all your comments. And well, Happy gardening to you. See you next time. Bye-bye.